It's our favourite time of the week because we get to talk to our favourite person in the world, the one, the only, the wonderful Megyn Kelly. Megyn, how are you?
I am great, Paul. It's so fun to be out on the road, and it's also very nice to be back on my couch, supine.
Now, there's some big news out of Washington, D.C. today, which is Joe Biden's former chief of staff, former campaign manager, has dropped an $8 million bombshell that perhaps one of the reasons why they kept him in office was so they could get paid.
OMG. So this guy, Mike Donnellan, was on the inner circle of the Joe Biden world. And I think arguably the top advisor to Joe Biden since 1981. And he was subpoenaed and he had to give a deposition to the House Oversight Committee just a couple months ago. But we're just now getting our look at the videotape in which they were trying to ferret out what the incentives were on his inner circle to keep this, half comatose elderly nursing home patient upright and get him over the finish line in a presidential election. And they followed the money, which brought them right to the gold and the magic answer, which was payola. This guy testified that Mike Donnellan is his name. He was being paid $4 million to work on the campaign to get Joe Biden reelected. And he had a $4 million bonus waiting for him if Joe Biden won re-election. That's $8 million to get Joe Biden reelected, which is totally out of whack with what most Politico operatives would get. These politicos don't get $8 million. That's extraordinary money for what this guy was paid to do. And all of that would be a scandal standalone. But when you see the videotape of him hemming and hawing in an effort to avoid having to answer the question, it is so telling. He gets asked a very straightforward question. I mean, it's not a tough one at all. It's basically like, hey, is it true what we've heard? You were getting paid. I'm trying to find the exact question here, which I had. And he won't answer it. He is like deer in the headlights, trying to pretend he doesn't understand. Doesn't give an actual answer, tries to sort of do a runaround. Here it is. I've got it. The straightforward question was, just to be clear, would the amount of pay you receive for your role on the campaign, would that have changed depending on how far into the race President Biden made it? So clear. No one would take a minute, 20 seconds to sit there and try to figure out what the heck that meant or what the heck the answer would be. But he did, and finally managed to spit out, my sense is, in my view, the money was, it was a guarantee, the campaign, there was a negotiation. That's my memory.
In my view, the money was, that it was a guarantee for the campaign that we'd had a negotiation, and that's my memory of the agreement.
What? And they had to do multiple follow-ups to get him to just spit out the truth, which was he had another $4 million on the line if he could get Weekend at Bernie's over the finish line. And now, sitting here under oath, did not want to give it up, but was forced to.
Yeah, it's that evasiveness that has pervaded the Biden White House, from lies about his health to the cheap fakes when videos could see that he wasn't up to it, let alone the economy is fine because this stat is better than your lived experience. But of course, all of that came to an end when he melted before our faces and then the media started to do their job.
Yes, and then ever since, they've been playing the we're shocked game. Shocked. Couldn't believe it either. Well, we'd never seen anything like it. And of course, we all know that's lies. Which brings us to the Karine Jean-Pierre interview with the New Yorker, where she just got killed. I mean, her career is over as a result of this devastating interview she gave to what she thought was a friendly leftist reporter for the New Yorker. And, he got right to it too. Like, she tried I'd never seen anything like that debate. And he was like, other than what we all saw every day on the television, you mean? I mean, he didn't let her get away with it. For once, we had a leftist reporter not letting a lefty Paul type or representative get away with just flat out lies. But you're right that these people are not used to that, whether it's Mike Donnellan in this sit down with the House Oversight Committee, Karine Jean-Pierre with the New Yorker, that crazy Katie Porter who's running for governor in California, like, I'm done, I'm stopping, I'm calling it, right? Because she couldn't stand getting asked a couple of mildly tough follow-ups. The left is not used to left on left blood. It's always the righties who have to deal with this. But in each of those circumstances, there was something unique. House Oversight's run by the Republicans, so he had to answer, and they were tough questions. Katie Porter was dealing with an open primary in which she's running against other Democrats, so that's when the media will do its job. And Karine Jean-Pierre is now no longer useful to these Democrats who run the media, and they're mad at her, and they're mad at Joe Biden for costing them the presidency, so she's fair game. None of them is used to this.
Now, I always love when the liars in the media try to pretend exactly the opposite is true, that they live in this alternative universe with a Jedi mind trick. We never called Trump Hitler. Well, guess what? You did, and we have the tape to prove it.
What I know is in the early days of the Nazi regime, they started slowly but surely taking away people's rights. And what we're seeing now is the very same thing.
A unified Reich? That's Hitler's language. That's not America's.
It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler.
Talks about the blood of America as being poisoned, echoing the same exact language used in Nazi Germany.
Beginning to see what happened in Germany back in the 1930s. I never thought that could happen in this country. How do you elect a person president, then all of a sudden give him the authority to be dictator?
Hitler used immigration and racism as their base, and that is what Trump has done. He's Hitler-esque.
It's amazing to me. So the best I can figure, if I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, is that they're trying to rely on the fact that no one really said Trump is Hitler. They did, by the way, they did that too. But maybe that's their defense. I didn't say the words, Trump is Hitler. He's the modern day Hitler. There's 10,000 sound bites of them saying, you know who else did what Trump is doing? Adolf Hitler. I never understood how the Germans could go along with Adolf Hitler until I saw MAGA and the way they take in Trump. Like endless comments like that. It's irrelevant. What does Trump actually is the physical embodiment of Hitler even mean? Of course, nobody's really saying that, although we did find a few. But like, of course, that's not the point. That's an impossible thing to do. You can't reincarnate as President Trump. I mean, I suppose like maybe some Hindus believe that, but very few others. So, of course, the point is simply you have constantly compared Trump to Hitler, which, by the way, is a big deal. Up until Trump, that was a hard no in American conversation. I don't know how it is around the rest of the world, but in American conversation, it's a hard no to compare anything to the Holocaust or anyone to Hitler, because he was, of course, uniquely evil. In a long history of very evil people, he managed to stand out. So even if you're like, I remember even a couple years ago, we were looking at the Chinese and the genocide against the Uyghurs and the forced sterilization. And we had this long debate on whether you could compare it to what the Nazis did. And in the end, it was like, nope, you can't. You just can't compare anything to Adolf Hitler. But the left has run rampant with it in the Trump era, very loose standards, in comparing virtually everything Trump does to that of Adolf Hitler. So the fact that they just want to whitewash it now and hope that we've forgotten is just kind of laughable. And like, not only, Nicole Wallace was the one who really went out on a limb of MSNBC saying this. And not only did she have multiple people on her show say it, she said it. She's like, I don't remember anybody on Team Democrat ever saying it. No, you literally said it. And you had multiple guests on your show who said it. So I don't know if she's got like early Alzheimer's or if she's just a liar. But either way, it's not so good for engendering trust with one's audience.